Hari Om. This is an excerpt from a reading from Reverend Jagannath Carrera, Mastering the Game of Life. In every game there is a goal, a purpose behind the game's actions. It's usually the first thing about a game that we learn. That's because it is only when we understand the goal and keep it in the mind that the rules of the game make sense. Another important point is that it is the rules, the list of actions that are allowed or disallowed, that help make the game an interesting challenge. However, if we do not know what the goal is, the rules lose meaning. They are reduced to a collection of random acts that lead nowhere and only add to feelings of confusion and anxiety. Of course, this is how we often feel about life. We are like ships without rudders, trying to navigate seas with unpredictable currents and storms. That is why our first order of business in attempting to master the game of life, as with any game, is to find out what the ultimate goal is. So, what is the purpose of life? Years ago, Sri Swami Satchidananda gave a talk at Rutgers University. Afterwards, a microphone was placed at the long end of the center aisle for anyone who wanted to ask a question. After a few questions, one young man strode up to the microphone. You could guess by his body language and the look on his face that he had what he felt was the ultimate question, the question of all questions. And he did. He stood at the mic, looked up, and then paused, and as he turned his gaze downward in a very dramatic way, finally, leaning forward over the mic, he said, "Beloved Master," and again paused, letting the drama build. "My question," another dramatic pause, "is," and taking in a deep audible breath, he again paused. Finally, he finished his question. What is the purpose of life? It was as if this was the question to end all questions. Sri Gurudev, being in the moment of it all, mirrored the young man and took a very serious look on his face. He lowered his head, and after a long pause, slowly raised it. You could hear a pin drop. And he said in a grave tone, "I would say," pause, "that the purpose of life," another pause, "is to have fun." And the audience laughed and cheered in approval of this answer. The young man's shoulders drooped for a moment before a smile of what must have been relief flashed across his face. Then the answer was humorous. But it wasn't just a joke. Sri Gurudev was saying that fun is the purpose of life. It's mind-boggling to think about what that means. All the philosophies and spiritual disciplines, all the effort we put forth in living life, all of it is for this one ultimate purpose. Fun is the reason we are here, not to amass wealth, achieve positions of influence, have kids, go on vacations, or even realize God, or to attain cosmic consciousness. Our purpose for being is much more profound. It exists on a much deeper and more fundamental level. Why would you even want to have wealth, power, fantastic holidays? Why would you want to realize God or experience cosmic consciousness? If realizing God would make your life miserable, you wouldn't want it. As goals, self-realization, God-realization, cosmic consciousness, they may sound more enticing than fun, more sophisticated, spiritually valuable and worthy of our own grown-up attention, but they're not as satisfying. Next to fun, everything else is a secondary goal. If we look closely, we will see that fun, the experience of unbounded happiness, is the bedrock on which all other desires rest. That's what you really want when you get to the bottom line. For spiritual seekers, it might sound funny to say that achieving enlightenment is not the ultimate goal. But why would you want enlightenment? What would you do with it? After years and years of meditation, you finally go into some exceedingly subtle meditative state, and there it is, cosmic consciousness. But now, what do you do for lunch? What do you do after that experience? Isn't how that state affects your daily life really more important point? Attaining a profound meditative state is wonderful, but you can't stay sitting cross-legged forever. The real question is, the question that a deep part of your mind always asks is, am I having fun yet? But what kind of fun are we talking about? We're not talking about everyday happy feelings. If that were what was meant by fun, you would soon begin to think you can have fun doing so many other things than sitting cross-legged with your feet asleep, waiting for God to arrive. Why should I go through all of this self-discipline, all this study, inner work, just to have fun? I can go to the movies to have fun. I can go to the circus to have fun. Fun doesn't seem like an appetizing goal until you realize what's meant here is that this fun is unending. But it's not just that, it's a particular type of fun. Usually, when we think of fun, we also think of the opposite of fun, whatever you would call that. Not having fun or being miserable, it's the same with happiness. When you think of happiness, you think of sadness. But this fun doesn't have an opposite. It is realized when we transcend all limited and artificial notions of who we are to realize the self, the God within, as our true identity. To paraphrase St. Paul, it's the fun that passes all understanding. We can't even fathom what it is. It's not even that this fun is somehow greater than ordinary fun. That's not the way to look at it. It's not like fun can be measured on a thermometer, where the freezing level is misery, the warmer level enjoyment, and then, as the temperature rises, hot fun. Self-realization does not reward us with fun that is simply greater than our ordinarily worldly fun. It's fun on a whole different scale. It's an entirely different experience. That's why it's difficult to talk about. The limited mind can't understand what this fun is like. It's beyond anything that we know, better than anything. Nothing can compare to it. What we usually call fun is only a pale reflection of the real fun. That's probably why the ultimate thing you can do and say about it is that you can't say anything about it. It's incomparable. So that's our purpose, to have the ultimate incomparable fun by attaining self-realization. That is the game. That's the purpose of life. So, what is this game of life like? How can it be described? Isn't it very much like being suddenly out of nowhere, being squirted into the middle of a football game? One day you appear, suddenly drop down on the field, then someone throws you the ball and shouts, "Run!" And you're thinking, this doesn't even look like a ball. And there you are, innocently holding this ball, and a gang of large men with big shoulders and helmets come running towards you and knock you down. Just because you're holding the ball, and you don't get it. You don't know the purpose of the game. You didn't ask to be put there. Yet, there you are, stuck in the middle of this game, people screaming, "Run! Don't run! Throw! Tackle!" And you don't even know what these words mean. At this point, the game is not much. You just keep your fingers crossed that you won't be tackled and look forward to timeouts and halftime entertainment. You get confused and battered because you are unaware and unsure of the purpose and the rules, what they are. Then one day, tired and in pain, You hear what sounds like a voice of sanity. That's the coach. He says, "You see those 2 sticks over there? Next time you get the ball, go that way. Run through those sticks. That's your goal." Run between those sticks? Why? What kind of goal is that? What'll happen if I make it? When you go through those sticks, you'll be really happy. Why? You'll see. And not only will you be happy, but many other people will be happy too. Your teammates will slap you on the back, hug you, and you'll be the hero. And you'll be in the newspaper the next day. Running through those sticks, this is something special. And the coach, who seems so wise, now has little to offer. Trust me, it is special, but I can't really give you a reason for why, but it's just the way the game is. Isn't this where, as seekers, we are now? We've been squirted into the middle of the game of life and got knocked around until we heard wise instruction from a coach. You're looking in the wrong place for happiness. Look within. Peace and happiness lie within. Clear and steady the mind, open the heart, serve others, do this, do that. So in the middle of this game of life, you apply these teachings as best as you can, learning to play the game of life as you go. Life, which seemed like a nightmare, now becomes more enjoyable. You know that you make particular moves, and if you know that, you can get around the guys who are trying to tackle you. You might even throw the ball and let someone else get chased for a while. And of course, with any game, the bigger the challenge, the more fun it is. In the beginning, you were trying to run away, avoid the game, and even the slightest challenge would make you upset. You'd lose your peace over the smallest challenge. Now, you enjoy a big challenge, and if you're really good at playing the game, you want to play in the championship. You want to be in the Super Bowl. A super challenge means super fun. Of course, the great thing, the great cosmic surprise, comes when you finally reach the goal and you realize that you, the real you, your true self, has been watching the game in the stands the whole time. The real you was never really on the field. You were always the witness of all that was happening. That's the higher truth. Aham Sakshihi, the scriptures say. I am the eternal witness of all there is. You are that witness, absolute unbounded consciousness. The real you was never born and will never die. Your true identity is divine. Even though this is the ultimate truth, it is the game of life, and we all have our parts to play. That's why, if we faithfully do all the practices, follow yamas, niyama, 10 commandments, the golden rule, we meditate every day, practice jnana yoga, mantra japa, bhakti yoga, karma yoga, raja yoga, to refine and develop every aspect of our being, every aspect of who we are, physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, and intellectually, then it is easy to have a still, clear mind. Keep your spiritual life simple. Be regular in your yoga practices. Lead a dedicated life, and the light in you will shine brighter and brighter. Gradually, you will experience the full light, enlightenment. You will become a liberated being who will never again know sorrow or suffering, and who will serve as a light of wisdom and compassion to all. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om peace, peace, peace. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light.